Distinguished representatives of the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, valuable artists, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to greet you all with the most heartfelt feelings and with deep respect. Thanks to this inauguration ceremony, I would like to state that I'm very glad that I am together with you. We will listen to the valuable foreign artists whose performance we will be listening to after a while. I'd like to say welcome to each one of them. At the beginning of my speech, once again, I would like to remember the chief violinist of the Presidential Symphony Orchestra, Oktay Dalayseli, who unfortunately has lost his life. I'd like to remember him in front of all of you. In the Presidential Symphony Orchestra, he has been working for 45 years, 30 years out of which he worked as the chief violinist, the first violinist, and he performed many concerts and he taught to many students and he raised many students. As a result, he left many masterpieces behind. Once again, I'd like to extend my condolences to his family. Our inauguration ceremony, unfortunately, has to be carried out with limited participation due to the COVID-19 pandemic. These challenging times in which the coronavirus has increased, we will try to overcome this problem by obeying two precautions. We also carry out our meetings, gatherings, and political consultations in taking into consideration the reality of the coronavirus. The inauguration ceremony of our new concert hall of the Presidential Symphony Orchestra has to be carried out immediately without postponement, since it will lead to the benefit of our nation. And this concert hall has been in our agenda for many years. Unfortunately, the building next to this one couldn't fulfill the demand. As we come to office, we would like to carry out certain feasibility studies. Although those feasibility studies are not enough, we initiated the feasibility studies to be carried out from the scratch, and we boosted up the project by eliminating the problems with regards to the contractors. Unfortunately, this project has been postponed for many years, but thanks to God, we have taken the business into our hands and we have completed this project. And the modern architecture is also brought to our nation, which will serve for our orchestra. The concert hall of Presidential Symphony Orchestra, which can easily compete with its counterparts, has been founded by 5 blocks on a 15.4 hectares square meters, and the total land allocated for the concert venue is 62,572 square meters, 650 seating capacity Great Hall and 500 seating capacity Blue Hall, in addition to exhibition area and gift shop is present in our complex. And we also have 800 closed parking lot area. As a result, this building has been designed for serving to any sort of purposes. Not architecturally only, with its technical features, this is a special building. The small and big and grand concert halls have been designed by the acoustic experts all around the world, and we have preserved the natural acoustic features in those halls and venues. state opera, ballet, and in addition to different music groups and private music organizations will have a chance to make use of this venue. Hopefully, after the aggravating situations of the pandemic cease to exist, this building will be a land for artists and art. Hopefully, we will have a chance to listen the voice of all the world from different languages, and all the beauties will be reflected on the musical notes in this building. By taking inspiration from the Pisagor and Farabi, the reflections from Mozart and Şemsettin and Maraghi will be reflected in here, and we will listen to the rhythms of Shostakovich and Chopin in here. Those compositions will be embracing and leading the way to more andantes. And the sorrow coming out of a violin and the longing going out of the bağlama, the Turkish instrument, will be heard here. The composition of Itri will be sounding together with the Beethoven concerto, and those symphonies of peace will be heard in this venue. Hopefully, this concert hall will be one of the indicators of the rich culture of Turkey, and this venue will continue to serve to our nation. This flamboyant masterpiece, in any terms, I wish that to be auspicious to all art lovers and the citizens of Ankara. Once again, I'd like to congratulate our Ministry of Culture and Tourism, including but not limited to our minister and his team. I also would like to congratulate the designers, architect, and the workers of the contractor company. On behalf of myself and on behalf of my nation, I would like to congratulate each one of them who contributed to the foundation of this building. Distinguished guests and dear friends, according to Yahya Kemal, the deceased poet, he stated that we have three great arts other than founding an army and state. Yahya Kemal defines those as music, architecture, and poetry. When we take a look to our history, in addition to architecture and poetry, we see that the music also takes an important place in our history. The Turkish music is covering the area of Ottoman Empire, the Islamic lands, the Aegean area, and it is also fed from the Western culture and comes all the way to the contemporary times. The tonalities of the Turkish music is reflecting the hundreds of years of a civilization. Yahya Kemal, in the Itri poetry, defines this reality as such. From Budin to Iraq to all the way to Egypt, from all the conquered lands far away, the wind which flows independently on our lands brought tonalities and sounds from all the springs. It collected us and it listened to our 700 years of civilization. In our music, on one side, religion and whole life flowed. The Bosphorus has embraced the blue flow of Euphrates, and our sounds, our joy, our passion, our victory has flown on those lands. Yes, Turkish music is the reflection of such great accumulation and harmony. It is the summary of our 1,000 years of civilization. Each one of our songs are reflecting the wisdom of the Horacean wise man, and it also a treasure which is bringing to the contemporary times of our cultural richness. Our songs are the reflections of our presence in those lands in musical notes and in lyrics. Each composition which is striking and which is touching to our hearts are reflecting the longings of the lovers who couldn't meet with each other. From folk music to the Turkish classical music, we should see each one of those compositions as a river which is flourishing in those lands. A tree has the same place with Karaca Oğlan. Dede Efendi is word for respect, and Aşık Veysel is also word for such kind of a respect. Hafiz Saadettin Kaynak, we are grateful for him, and we are also grateful to Neşet Ertaş, who is the representative of our rural culture, and our composers, our artists. We cannot discriminate among them. But as it is the case in many topics, huge mistakes have been done in the field of music. This Jacobin mentality, which has been imposed on our lands like a nightmare, has also had its reflections on our Turkish music. This led to the desertification of our art culture. Under the name of musical revolution, the folk music and Turkish classical music has been unfortunately prohibited because they are defined as Alaturka. And even in the state newspapers, we have seen headlines stating that the Turkish classical music has been promulgated. The ones who thought that they can transform the society by oppression, they thought that they can change the musical style of our society with prohibitions. The time when our country is get rid of the domination of those cultural fascists, the cultural life in Turkey revived again. And in order to make our Turkish culture and musical life much more vivid, this is the sole reason behind it, getting rid of those cultural fascists. Turkey is not flourishing only in the field of economy, defense, but Turkey has also gotten rid of its shackles in the field of literature, music, and poetry. Dear brothers and sisters, we are not discriminating among our people, so we cannot discriminate among our artists anyhow. Our poets, the countries who are discriminating between their authors and their poets and their citizens, this comes to an end in Turkey. Whatever belongs to those lands should be embraced as a gain of our country. This is what we try to do. Anyone who can contribute to the artistic life of our country is tried to be embraced by us. And Beştepe Culture and Conference Venue, which is the biggest opera hall in our presidential complex, has been materialized. We demolished the Atatürk Culture Center and transformed it to an opera hall, which Istanbul really deserves. Our minister is close to following this masterpiece, and hopefully in the shortest time possible, this concert venue will be put for the service of our nation and of our citizen. As we come to office, we only had 42 culture centers, and we increased that number to 116. and the theater stages have been increased to 77, and the number of private theaters which have been supported reached to 358, and the financial support has been increased to 12 million Turkish liras. And we have carried out 72 exhibitions abroad, especially during the pandemic, from cinema to music to the broadcasting. We have given remarkable support to those fields. As someone tried to abuse those fields, we also have taken tangible steps like reducing the tax and providing tax exemptions, or reducing the rental fees so that we can support our artists. And Yeditepe, the Seven Hill concerts, were also as actually a sip of water to our artists in those hard times. As I conclude my speech, once again, I pray for God that the concert venue of Presidential Symphony Orchestra be auspicious, and I wish success to all artists who will be performing in here. And I would like to thank each one of my friends in here on behalf of my nation. And once again, I would like to thank our Ministry of Culture and Tourism for bringing this masterpiece to our nation. I'd like to extend my gratitude to each one of you. And without further ado, I'd like to yield the floor to our artists. We would like to thank our President for his speech. We would like to hold him on a stage for a while. And right now, Cemican Deli Orman, the conductor of the Presidential Symphony Orchestra, I'd like to invite him to the stage so that he will deliver the plaque of appreciation and also the conductor baton to our president. His Excellency President, and we would like to invite the Minister of Culture and Tourism to their places in the protocol venue.
Sayın Cumhurbaşkanım, değerli konuklar, sizleri şimdi Cumhurbaşkanlığı Senfoni Orkestrası şefimiz Cemican Deliorman'ın yönetimindeki konseriyle baş başa bırakıyoruz.